Hello and welcome to another episode of 1000 Actually Fun Books, where we're looking for the best of fun books in every genre. And today we're going to do a book review in the suspense category, mystery suspense kind of thing, The Long Weekend by Gilly Macmillan. So the book is, definitely in the suspense category, much more so than mystery or horror, although there are touches of both of those in this. So, the plot. The idea is it starts out with three couples going on a vacation. They're going to, of course, to get the atmosphere right, something cut off from the world. You cannot reach anybody by phone or anything. It's too far to walk anywhere to get cell service. A cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And at the start of the story, it turns out that the husbands of the couples can't make it. So it's only the women that are going up to the cabin, and the next day the men are supposed to show up. The husbands were originally friends before they all got married, so they're a tight-knit group, and there used to be two other people in the group, another man and his wife, Eddie. His wife, Eddie. So the five of them, the four men and the girl, were great friends back in college. And so now they've all gotten married, but they're all still very close. And the idea is that the wives will kind of hopefully get to know each other and be friends, closer friends over the course of this weekend. Anyway, so the women show up at the cabin and there is a note left for them. And the note is supposedly from Eddie, who wrote and basically said, you guys didn't want me here anyway, and I'm leaving, and I'm going to murder one of your husbands. And so naturally, the women are kind of like, what's up with that? That's kind of, is that a really cruel, not very funny prank? Is it is it real? Like, is Eddie the kind of person that would actually kill somebody? And if so, why? Why would she do that? Had they offended her? What was going on with that? So, very early on, you find out somebody has died. This isn't a spoiler because it's like within the first couple chapters of the book. Somebody has died, but you don't know who. And so, as things progress, what you find is you're trying to find out who died, if anybody died, and all the whys behind it, and the secrets that all the people are hiding kind of bubble up to the surface in the moments of stress. You have the three women trapped for an evening together in a high-stress environment, and they just start losing their minds, kind of, so to speak. One of them gets blackout drunk, and one of them just freaks out, and the other one is like, no, it's all a prank, don't worry, everything will be fine, and nobody's listening to her, and it's driving her crazy, and they start getting, yelling at each other, and, things start coming out about secrets, and it's mostly focused on the women and that rising tension of what's going on with them. And then about 100 pages in, you get your first twist of unexpected things come about, and so on and so forth. So things I liked. I liked the plot. I thought it was well done. The twists were unexpected, I found. I didn't guess who was the victim until quite a ways in, until it was revealed, let's put it that way. I didn't guess, the why, and as much, it was good mystery parts of it. It was not set up that you were supposed to guess ahead of time before the reveals. This is one that, certain certain events come to light, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming, rather than something where you should have guessed up until that point, it was good. The twists and surprises were good. They did a good job with that. The ending I felt was pretty satisfactory, especially the epilogue, where you feel like, because a lot of murder mysteries, you find the who done it and why done it and how done it, and then it ends right there with just the reveal. You don't even usually get the arrest. Well, this one has an epilogue a little bit later, kind of showing how did people recover from the trauma of the weekend, because there were a lot of people affected by this, and are they recovering, and how are they dealing with it? So I liked that it had a good ending. It was a tense situations, but it never felt scary. I liked that too, because I'm not a fan of horror where you're supposed to be actually scared or revolted or whatever. Instead, it was tense, and you could feel that tension rising, but it wasn't something where I was actively scared. So the characters, in the story are kind of in between whether I like it or dislike it. Like, I could not relate to any characters. I wasn't feeling like I was strongly in the head of any character. But I thought the author did a good job with the characters, like their motivation and their unique personalities and their insecurities. But they were very insecure women with weird hang-ups and weird secrets, and they were very catty towards each other, and not listening to each other, and it was a lot of things that I was just it wasn't quite to the point where you're like, everybody, you're making stupid decisions. No, the author didn't have them making flat out stupid decisions, although there were a whole bunch that I wouldn't agree with. I could realistically see somebody doing that, even if I didn't agree with it, even if it wasn't something I would personally ever do. So in that respect, I thought the author did a good job with the characters, even if I didn't like the characters personally. But in this kind of book, you're not supposed to like the characters. They're not supposed to be good and wholesome and, good role models or anything. They're all supposed to be pretty rotten. So things I disliked. The major thing, the biggest thing I disliked was the author's writing style of transitioning point of view. So you'd be reading along from somebody's point of view, and then abruptly it would switch to another person's point of view, and I'd kind of go, wait, what? And have to go back and reread it slowly and go, oh, there it transitioned. So it'd be something like, Ruth is doing such and such and saying such and such, and then Jane disagrees with her, and then suddenly it's from Jane's point of view. And it's not a good transition, because from Ruth's point of view, you could have Jane disagreeing with her and saying something disagreeable, but it's not obvious that it's now from Jane's perspective. And the author did this over and over and over repeatedly throughout the book. It's constantly flopping perspectives within a page, and there's no page breaks or anything like that to delineate that it's a different perspective, and it got really frustrating. The author did do page breaks when it went from the women to something completely different, like the killer's perspective or something else, but it didn't do it within the scene of the women. It would just be like somebody's point of view, and then suddenly it's somebody else's point of view, and it was kind of irritating because it broke it up. I kept having to go, it jerking me out of the story so I could go back and reread who was it I was now in the perspective of. So that I didn't like. So because it's attempting to build up that tension, as people slowly fall apart, you need to have it be a slow-paced, as people ruminate on the issues and their insecurities are bubbling up inside them and that kind of thing. So it can be a slower pace. And I kept doing one of those, okay, get on to the next part, let's move. I just felt it needed, at times I was just like, it's moving too slowly. And again, that just could be my perspective. I was impatient, but I didn't particularly love this. There's some sort of quasi-spiritual thing going on there that was like, the spirits of your ancestors in the land or something like that really didn't have a lot to do with the plot, that I was kind of like, that's weird. There is some rated R stuff as far as sexually. So somebody getting together with somebody else, both the coupling and the undressing. There's some stuff that's very questionable in that respect. For example, an adult seeing somebody who's a, I don't know, 16-year-old unclothed or minimally clothed, or we'll just say circumstances related around that. There is never anything that happens in that respect, but the tension is there for potential that is kind of yucky. So there is that. So those are the kind of things I didn't really like. But overall, I would say it had more positives than negatives. Again, this is another book that I'd be right on the verge of whether it's just okay or highly recommended, and I'm going to decide that I'm going to put it as highly recommended. So if you like suspense, this is not my genre, but if you like suspense, I would recommend it, mostly because I thought the author did a good job of the twists and the idea of the mystery being who was killed. I thought was more interesting than the who killed them. It was a different kind of murder mystery, which I liked that. And I thought the author did a good job on, building up the suspense and stuff. So, overall, I'm going to give it a thumbs up. And on to part 2, my next book. I'm going to do a science fiction. So we're going to do Dauntless. The part of the series is The Lost Fleet, and it's by Jack Campbell. And so I've never read any of these series, but my husband likes them, and I think it is a hard sci-fi rather than a soft sci-fi. So that would be fun to see something along those lines. And so if you are able to, please follow me on the next series, and thank you for watching.